What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Locks DFS MLB breakdown video for this Monday, May 20th, 8-game MLB slate. Going to be breaking down some of my favorite pitchers and hitter spots on this 8-game slate. Before we get into that, as you guys know, we give a free season pass to one person who's been a subscriber and who's been commenting positive comments or kind of their thoughts on the slate throughout the week. We do this every week on Monday, so remember to comment and subscribe. And this week, it's Joaquin Portillo who won. I believe he commented on every video, if not most videos. Really appreciate the support. So be sure to DM me at ByHardy or DM at Locks DFS on Twitter, and we'll get you taken care of. Thank you so much for your support. And make sure that if you're watching and you haven't won, continue to comment, subscribe. We really appreciate it. Helps us out a lot. So be sure to do that. And also wanted to let you know, what we do, at locksdfs.com, breaking down every single player on the slate, giving them ratings, giving analysis. We do this for every main slate. And the red players here are our locks. You can see our left. This is our website. You also get our top team stacks, which I believe Addy has already posted today. I'm getting to the video a little bit late, but we have the top stacks. Then I'll also, after this video, go in and look at some stats that I prefer, that I'll be looking at on this slate. Okay, be sure to check that out. We have month passes on the website, so if you just go to the website and go one sport pass here, get started, you can get to them through there. So be sure to check that out. And let's go ahead and get into the slate. So we're gonna start with pitching per usual. My options pretty much today are gonna be sticking to the top end of pitching here. I've got Patrick Corbin at the top, got Chris Paddock, and got Mike Soroka. Those are the three guys I'm really gonna be looking at. I think Luke Weaver makes a little bit of sense against San Diego and their 3.6 run total. I think so. Basically, I'm gonna be sticking around those guys above Weaver. I'm not gonna talk about Weaver. We'll talk about him more on the lock sheet. The two I'm gonna talk about on this sheet is going to be, or on this video, is going to be Patrick Corbin and Mike Minor. So let's get into Patrick Corbin real quick. He's going to be facing a Mets team that has been absolutely awful lately. You saw them going to Miami and just get run over by whoever Miami threw out there. Pablo Lopez, Sandy Alcantara both had phenomenal games against the Mets. And we have Corbin here, who's a lefty, of course, so a little bit different than those two. Lopez and Alcantara, both righties. That said, we have Corbin, who is pretty good on both hands. He gives a little bit more hard contact to righties, as you can see here. 34% hard contact rate. But you see the xFIP kind of pop up a little bit at 3.82, but you still see an insane K rate and a really, really good swinging strike rate all season long, 12.8%. Very much worth the price. Let's pull up Mets versus lefties real quick. I have it pulled up right here. On the season, the Mets, 29% K rate versus lefties. They do have a decent WRC plus. They're middle of the pack in WRC plus at 106, 153 ISO. So really just looking at this K rate, for Corbin, a pitcher who gets a lot of Ks, who, depending on to get a lot of Ks, he can give up a few runs, it's okay. The Mets have been striking at an insane rate. I mean, even if we go, let's just filter this by last 14 days, and then versus all pitchers, and then go by K rate, and we're going to see the Mets at 24.6%. Top 10 in the league over the last 14 days. So really a lot of K upside here in this Mets team. And keep in mind that this is last 14 days. In the last series, they just faced the Marlins pitching. So Corbin is much more dominant than anyone else they have on that staff, except for maybe Caleb Smith. And I don't think the Mets even faced Caleb Smith, if I'm remembering right. So anyway, big upside for Corbin in this matchup with the K rate. As you can see, swinging strike rate is just phenomenal, 11.9, 17.8, and 15.7. Actually, that last time out versus the Mets was 15.7. So big interest in Corbin at this price. Obviously, as you can see here, just came off that domination of the Mets as well. I should have mentioned that at the top. I don't really like to base my opinions off of what they did against the team last time, but I mean, that is very, very recent, and you can see he dominated here. It will help me a little bit to lock in Corbin. I think he is going to probably be my SP1 regardless, but it's going to help me a little bit if we do see them, depending on how many lefties they throw in this lineup. The more lefties, the better. Corbin is just so dominant on lefties. They have no chance against him, to be honest with you, for the most part. So Corbin's the SP1. Let's talk about Chris Paddock, 9.6 or 9.5K on DraftKings, going up against the Diamondbacks team total, which Vegas has been giving Paddock a ton of respect all year, but this is a lot of respect here. 3 runs, Park, which is going to play really, really well for Paddock, of course. But what I really like Paddock for is going to be his, and you can pull it up here. I mean, this is actually where I saw his whip rate. 0.75 whip rate. So walks, hits per innings pitched, he's giving up only 0.75. He's walked one guy in each of his starts except for this start against St. Louis, where he walked 4 and only gave up 1 hit. Still came up with a decent score of 13.3. Obviously, now we're looking for 9.5K, but this is a much better matchup than St. Louis against Arizona here in Petco Park. I just love the fact that obviously the biggest concern with Paddock is that you're pretty much guaranteed to get under 100 pitches, and you're always kind of wanting your starting pitcher to go 100 pitches. That said, when it's a guy that gets to the point, doesn't mess around with walking guys, that's huge, because he's going to be conserving pitches, being able to go deeper in games because of that. And especially a guy who's getting an 11.7 swinging strike rate, who has been extremely dominant, especially on righties this year. 2.85 xFIP to righties, 11.28 K per 9. He's going to see a decent amount of lefties, don't get me wrong, and he is giving up some hard contact to those lefties. But the run total is a big thing for me. We could see Gerard Dyson dip out of the lineup and maybe like an Adam Jones leadoff or something like that, which would really versus righty. So love Paddock today, and of course what helps is the park. What helps is the Vegas believing in him. I mean, giving the Diamondbacks only a 3 run total. I think the price is fine. It's exactly where it should be. The Diamondbacks are about league average in terms of strikeouts and WRC plus versus righties. As I mentioned, the 2 other guys I'm going to be looking at the top end is going to be Soroka and why am I forgetting? Soroka and Weaver. Weaver's also in the plus environment. He's facing a 3.6 team total, just to kind of start you off there. Feel free to look deeper in those guys, but those are the 2 guys. Those are the 4 guys I'll be considering, with Corbin being my pretty definitive SP1. Okay, let's get into some hitters. I'm not going to go too deep on hitters today. But the highest team total on the slate is the Texas Rangers, who are in a little bit of interesting spot. Mike Leake has been this year especially, been a very reverse splits pitcher. So reverse splits meaning that he gives up a lot more hard contact to righties. So let's go a lot more. I won't just say hard contact, just negative contact in general to righties. As you can see, a 5.42 xFIP to righties and a 3.81 xFIP to lefties, and a 44% hard contact rate and a 43 fly ball rate to righties. So what this means for me is that Texas is going to be throwing out probably at least 6 lefties. It could be as many as 8. It could be as many as 9 even. It's possible. Actually, no, not as many as 9. The catcher is going to be a righty regardless. But it could be as many as 8. Which is going to be good for Leake. Leake has traditionally really... Well, even before this year, Leake has been a very heavy ground ball pitcher, not giving up a lot of fly balls. His fly ball rate up any crazy amount. I believe we just looked, and they're about 35% versus lefties. What is going to hurt Leake is the ballpark. Sorry, I did not mean to do that. I meant to go down and see. Just look at the contact rates here. Yeah, 30% versus lefties. So my issue with Leake is that he might not be giving up as many fly balls as we would like him to be giving up in this park. That said, the Rangers have the highest team total on the slate at 6.1 runs. And all these prices on the Rangers, but I think Gallo is fine at 5.7 if you can pay up for him, depending on where you're going at pitching and what value you can find. Like I said, my concern with Leake is definitely his soft contact that he may be able to get. That said, the Mariners also have one of the worst bullpens over the last month. It's been the whole pitching staff as a whole has been pretty terrible, giving up some of the worst numbers in the whole league. That's starters and bullpen. So if the Rangers can just get to Leake a little bit, they'll get to the bullpen, and that opens things up a lot. Also, what's going to hurt is that it is 87 degrees and it is humid in Texas per usual for summer, but the wind is going to be blowing in pretty gusty here at 22 miles per hour. So even if they do get a fly ball into the air, there's a chance that wind can kind of keep it in the ballpark. But that said, once again, it's still the highest team total in the slate is 6-1 by a large margin. We'll talk about the next team next. But yeah, like I said, my most interest is going to be in Calhoun, Mazar, and Gallo there. Even though Leak hasn't been terrible versus lefties, we're still going to see him give up a decent amount of contact to these lefties, a solid contact to these lefties. So next up, and a team that I think can be a little bit more dominant, if that makes any sense to you, is going to be these Astros. 5.5 run total. If I haven't looked at like Vegas odds or anything, but I definitely like the over on the Astros today. White Sox have one of the worst bullpens in the league, and this is looking to be more of a bullpen game. They might have a long reliever in there somewhere, but Burr is a reliever. They're expected to use the bullpen in this game. They don't have a clear long reliever that's coming in after, as far as I know from my research. So let's talk about some of these guys. Springer got injured yesterday. Don't think he's going to be in the lineup today, so that's going to catapult Josh Reddick to the second spot in the lineup. Against like I said, one of the worst bullpens in the league, bottom 5 bullpens in the league over the year, and second worst over the last 14 days, I believe I saw in Addy Stacks article. Really love that price on Reddick if he's batting second. Other than that, it's tough to pay that for Brantley if we're being honest, but he would be more of a GPP shifted play. Bregman is Bregman, an MVP candidate. Definitely someone that I'll be looking at, trying to afford in cash games. Correa is expensive, but definitely someone I'm fine with paying for in this matchup. Gurriel is very, very cheap, and I like the idea of going with like a 2-5 stack, getting Reddick and Gurriel, saving some money because we are probably going to be paying up a pitcher. Well, we already know I'm going to be playing Patrick Corbin, so I'm going to need to save some salary. So Reddick and Gurriel make some sense. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about. For hitters, I am fine with these bottom guys in GPPs. Marisnik is way too expensive, not really going there. But and White isn't going to be facing a lefty, so not too interested in White, who's been striking out a ton this year. So kind of stick towards the top, I would say, and then go to the bottom for GPP options. All right, with all that said, that's pretty much gonna do it for me. But I will give you some home run calls. First home run call is going to be Joey Gallo. Obviously, as I said, Leak isn't giving up as many fly balls to lefties as I like, but he is still giving up bad contact. So Gallo makes a ton of sense as a home run call in this ballpark. It does suck that the wind is blowing in that heavy, and it definitely lessens kind of the with the wind blowing in the impact that this ballpark has. That said, still think he can kind of get one out of there. And actually, I'm gonna go a little bit off the board here for my second one. I just realized he's over the price. It was gonna be Juan Soto versus Wilmer Font, who gives up a ton of hard contact to lefties, but he's at 4.2K. So let me look for a cheap guy. Oh, here we go. I will go ahead and go with Jonathan Scope down here against. It's gonna be Taylor Cole, and then it's gonna be Felix Pena. Big reverse splits pitcher over his career. Scope, lots of power versus righties. He would pull up his profile here on FantasyLabs.com. 220 ISO to righties over the last year. I think he just he had 2 home runs the other day against the Mariners. That was a crazy game the Mariners had. I think Scope and Crone both double donged. But really like Scope as a righty. I really am going to actually be interested in the Twins as a whole against Pena in this matchup. I'm surprised the run total is only a 4.4. Something I'm going to be looking into definitely a little bit more just because those prices are so cheap across the board, like Eddie Rosario 4.3, Kepler 3.8. Definitely a team where I'm going to be looking to get some cheap bats. But that said, Scope going to be the second home run call, and that's going to do it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate it. And be sure to follow me at ByHardy on Twitter. Be sure to comment, like, subscribe. It really helps us out a lot, and it'll give you a chance to win a free season pass. And also check us out, locksdfs.com, MLB for your MLB content. Help you build your own lineups. And get in the Slack chat to kind of talk with us about kind of where we'll be going on the slate and that sort of thing. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.